The following program is brought to you in part by Time Warner Cable and the Madison County School System.
Hi, I'm Samantha Burford with Madison County School Sports Television, here today with head coach John Clark.
And I'm here to tell you to watch Madison County School Sports Television.
This programming is sponsored by State Farm Insurance, Jerry Goebel in Richmond, Luxury Pet Service, Richmond, Premier Rehab in Gibson Bay, CSEP, MadisonCountyEMA.net, Davenport Custom Guitars, Richmond, Richmond Tourism, Time Warner Cable, Madison County Schools, ScenicCabin.com, Faith Created Assembly of God Church, and Tatum Enterprises. This program is sponsored by First Gear in downtown Richmond and ProSigns in Southern Hills Plaza.
Hi, I'm Samantha Burford, and welcome to the Coach John Clark Show. Welcome back to the Coach John Clark Show. Of course, I'm here with head coach of the Madison Southern football team, the ranked Madison County football team, Madison Southern Eagles. Big win this past Friday night. You guys are 4-0.
4-0.
Big win against Dunbar.
That was a pretty good football team we played Friday night.
That was a great football team.
I think I said that last week on the show, but I think a lot of people realized, I think people thought, oh, well, we struggled with them. They've got some athletes, They got some athletes that can level the playing field pretty quickly. So I think as the year goes on, people will realize, a lot of credit to them, they're going to be a pretty good football team this season.
So what's it feel like this week with all the talk about being ranked and...
Well, it feels like we're finally where we thought we were supposed to be when I took the job. This was the goal to get us here,
Right.
So I'm very excited for our boys and our community and our school. This is not something they've dealt with. I couldn't tell you the last time Southern was ranked and what it was ranked. So, to be ranked in the top 10 in multiple polls, it's a great feeling. But at the same time, I tell our kids, stay humble, because all it is somebody's opinion of where you are. The number one team loses every week in some class.
Exactly.
So it's not. It doesn't mean anything, but at the same time, what it does mean is people are recognizing that you're playing well, and that's a good sign.
Right. Well, the fans are definitely talking about it. It's all over Facebook, and
our fans have been awesome. It was a packed house again Friday night, and they're loud, and as I said before, it's like the 12th man. The kids feed on that,
Yeah.
So it was pretty good crowd, and they hung in there with us. We've won some games in a little bit bigger fashion, and this was a tight game that we had to win late in the game. So it came down to a last-second field goal.
Right.
So for our fans to still be there with us, sometimes you make mistakes on the football field, and that can keep other teams in, which we did. Sometimes you play good teams. When you make mistakes against good teams, that's what can cost you games. And I was glad we pulled this one out, but I was really excited that our fans hung in there with us.
Right. Oh, yeah. And, you guys are we'll talk about it more later. You guys are off this next week.
Yeah, this week we're off.
And then you have, is it North Laurel?
South Laurel.
South Laurel,
district
okay.
play, yep.
Yeah, so it's gone by quick.
No question. For us, we have 5 more games this season. We're at the halfway point of the football season almost.
Right. Yeah, and I think the fans, they'll go with you. They're probably not excited that you're off next week.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the boys are excited. They're enjoying the coaches. Yeah, everybody's enjoying the week off. We've not had this before either.
Right.
It's the first time we've had a bye week since we've been here. It's been great for the team. We've gotten everybody fresh and healthy, and we'll make sure we're ready to go. But I think the fans are ready for Friday Night Lights again.
Yeah, I think they will be too. Let's just dig right into the first quarter. I mean, it was an action-packed first quarter, and you had 2 touchdowns in the first quarter.
Yeah, we drove down the field.
Guys.
Drove down the field, scored quickly. Both were throwing touchdowns, which looked a little different. And our plan has been, as Aaron Sloan becomes more comfortable, we're trying to open up our offense a little bit more. Also, as Damian runs better and better, people are going to key on him more and more and more. I mean, you can't key on him any more than you do. Dunbar had the speed on the defensive side of the ball to shut down some things.
Right.
And we didn't play our best game up front. I don't want to kid anybody that we played a great game offensively up front, because we did not. But you accompany not a great game up front on offense with turnovers and then their speed on the defensive side of the ball. I was glad we got some points on the board early when we did, because this is the first game we've played where we were scoreless in a half. We were scoreless in the second half.
Right.
So, but the first quarter was exciting. J.D. Dean caught a touchdown pass. He took it at the end of the game. Yeah. J.D.'s junior for us, who's really turned into a playmaker for us. He's still kind of got some of those junior woes to get out as far as ball control and whatnot, but we're really happy with what he's becoming as far as a threat in our offense. And then he plays on the other side of the ball as well, so he plays a lot of corner.
Right.
And then Austin Beetlestone.
Austin, yeah.
We have 2 tight ends we use.
Yard.
Yeah, we use Andrew Miller and Austin Beetlestone are 2 tight ends. It's the first time since I've been here we've had 2 tight ends on the field at the same time, the capability to do that.
Right.
I was pretty excited for Austin too. Both those guys have just started to score this year, so it's fun when you have guys that aren't used to seeing the end zone to get in the end zone. It's pretty exciting.
Right. So your quarterback, I mean, obviously he's caught on really quick.
Yes, he's learning.
This is his what, 3rd game?
This is his 2nd game.
2nd game. See, I've got him already playing more.
Well, he played one series against Whitley late in the game. But,
okay.
Where
you brought him in slow.
Yeah, but this is his 2nd game. This is his first game to really start. He didn't start against Central. He came in the 2nd series.
Right.
This was his first full game. Played well. He ended up 7 for 10 passing. Our goal is to be 70% in the completion percentage, and he was. 58 yards throwing and 2 touchdowns. 1 interception, went back for 6 the other way. Some other things played into that interception. But take that out of the ball game, and it's a different game for him as well. So. Mistakes, he's trimmed down. He went from 4 turnovers the week before to 1 this week. So he's definitely learning more, trimming down the mistakes. And we're going to keep trimming down the package a little bit to zone in on what he does well.
Well, and last week was his old football. I don't want to say old football team, but it was his prior football team just 2 weeks before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. That's mentally tough on a. I don't want to call him a kid because he's a man.
Well, he's a sophomore. He's
exactly.
A kid.
But mentally, that's hard. I mean,
no
and to throw him right in there.
He's still young. I mean, this is the first varsity football he's ever played. He's a sophomore. He didn't play varsity before.
Right.
So we very much have a rookie at quarterback still. But I think.
But he's doing a great job.
And I think even our fans see. Our fans see it too. They see that he's getting better every week. And Devontae, moving into receiver, he had 3 catches for 21 yards. He adds another threat on the edge. We'll continue to get the ball to him more as Aaron becomes more comfortable. So there's no doubt in our mind that this was the right decision, what was best for our team. And down the road, I think that's really going to show.
Right. All right, let's take a quick break before we go into the 2nd quarter. And we're going to talk about this great defense of this
Blue Swarm.
Yeah, that's right. All right, we'll be right back with the head coach, John Clark Show.
This program is sponsored by Jack Burford Chevrolet, right here in Richmond. And by Clayton Homes in Richmond on Big Hill Avenue. You're watching Madison County School Sports Television, home of the greatest announcers around. This programming is sponsored by State Farm Insurance, Jerry Goebel in Richmond, Luxury Pet Service, Richmond, Premier Rehab in Gibson Bay, CSEP, MadisonCountyEMA.net, Davenport Custom Guitars, Richmond, Richmond Tourism, Time Warner Cable, Madison County Schools, ScenicCabin.com, Faith Created Assembly of God Church, and Tatum Enterprises.
Hello everyone, I'm Madison County School Superintendent Elmer Thomas, and I want to thank you for watching Madison County School Sports Television.
Follow Madison County School Sports Television on Twitter, or like us on Facebook, MCS TV, and of course, watch all of our videos on YouTube.
Welcome back to the Madison Southern Head Coach John Clark Show. I'm happy to be here with you. Let me tell you something. This has been the game of the week that everybody's been talking about. I mean, it's so exciting for me to sit here and hear when we go to break all the inside information with our production crew. So let's go back to defense. Let's just go with it.
Yeah, our defense. The nickname for our defense is Blue Swarm.
Right.
We coined that last year. We were blue on blue, and that's kind of their colors. So,
right.
We talked about getting as many guys to the ball as we can. It's neat to see when you watch our defense play. There was a college coach at the game scouting Friday night, and he watched us play last year and the year before, and he made the comment to me. He said the biggest thing that stands out to me is he said your guys are all over the football on defense. Mm-hmm. There's never one guy to the play. There's always 4, 5,
Multiple.
6 guys to the ball.
Right.
And that's coaching. That's something that Kevin Kling, our defensive coordinator, Michael Belt coaches our D line. Kevin Colbert, Ben Colbert and Byron Smoot work with our secondary to, they're the reason our defense does that. And that's just exciting. It's exciting. It makes it a lot easier as a head coach.
I was getting ready to say that you took the words right out of my mouth. That makes it a lot easier for you.
I'm not scared to punt. When it comes time for field position, which we'll talk about that later, something that happened in the fourth quarter. I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable giving the ball back to the other team because I'm comfortable with our defense, and we weren't that way previously.
And that makes sense because a lot of teams don't want to do that, and so
I don't fear giving the ball back. And they had an outstanding quarterback that can make big plays. We went up 13-0, and our guys feel like they're really rolling. And all of a sudden, their quarterback, he just pops off like a 65-yard touchdown.
Right.
And I told him before the game, this kid's going to make plays. You take that play out, they had like minus 20 yards of offense probably in the first quarter.
Right.
But that's the kind of, I feel like it's like they're like one of those teams, though, that can punish you matchup-wise. You can hold them to minus 40 yards, and then their quarterback will have 120 rushing on his own.
Yeah.
And it's not real indicative of what the game, you're dominating the game, and then and it makes me feel like, what it's like to probably play against Damian.
Right.
You feel like you can get a few stops here and there, and then one play, just boom. And that's how their quarterback was to us. Absolutely.
Right.
So, but our defense held their own. I mean, there's no question. They played well. Aaron Sipple leads our defense, the middle linebacker position. I just can't say enough about the way this young man is playing.
He's got to have some colleges looking after him.
He does. He's starting to really get some recognition. He's at some Big Ten schools that are starting to really take notice, and he ran a 4.7 40 at Ohio State this summer, which definitely helps that he tests well as well. But he's just a great football player. He's a good kid. He's a great football player. He comes from an outstanding family, and they're
well known in Berea.
And they're Madison County, Madison Southern people. It just excites me to see him do well, and he works hard. Him and Damian they work out together. They're constantly pushing each other, and I'm just really proud of him. But that's a kid sitting there with 41 tackles in 4 games, and that's a lot. You start averaging 10 tackles a game. That's impressive numbers. Tyler Hagan, who's our all-time leading tackler, is over there on defense with him as well. Tyler, if Aaron has 41, Tyler probably has 39.
Right.
So they're both right there, neck and neck at the ball. They just wreak havoc on the other side of the ball. We made a change defensively this week. Logan Coomer, he was playing weak side backer for us. We had an injury to one of our DNs. We moved him down to D-line, to defensive end, and it was just a huge benefit to get more speed and quickness on our defensive line, and he played outstanding. I was very proud of him. Selfless kid.
Right.
We asked him to do it. He said, if this is best for the team, I'm going to do it. And he really shined at it, and I was really proud of him.
And he worked that position well.
He worked at it last week. I mean, he moved in 3 days.
Right.
3 days he went from playing backer to down. He's never played DN in his life.
Right.
And he was noticeable in the game. He had an impact on the game, no question.
And that's such a team effort. I mean, if he says this is what's going to work for the team.
Find kids these days that sit there and say, hey, you know what? Whatever you need, I'm going to do what's best for the team. That's not common these days.
It's not. You're right.
And
that's hard to say.
Our boys are that way, though.
I mean, yeah.
And that's why we've gotten to where we are. Is they've bought into the selflessness, and you and I both know we've lived in this world a lot longer than these young men have. But that'll carry you on a lot further than life.
Right.
In life than a lot of these things will, and to be a true team player.
Right.
Is not easy, and we have a lot of boys that do that, and Logan did that this week, and I was really proud of him.
And I want to add to that, too. This team is getting a lot of media coverage because of Damian.
Right.
And it is hard, I'm sure, for them that they, an easy way out is to say, well, Damian's getting all the attention.
Well, and rightfully so. He warrants the attention, but he'll be the first to tell anybody.
But without
there's some really good players on this team, guys.
Right. Right.
And I think people that are coming to our games now are starting to notice.
Right. It's not just Damian.
Like sitting here, you said, is Aaron getting recruited? Yeah, he is. He's getting mail from Big Ten schools and Big 12 schools.
Right.
So they don't send him mail because they think he's good looking. That means you can play a little bit. So there's good players around him as well.
Exactly.
And,
making the holes for him.
Yeah. Well, the attention he gets is rightfully so. He's an outstanding player.
Right.
We didn't make a lot of holes for him second half of this game, though.
Yeah.
But that's something we're working on. But we didn't play very well up front in the second half, but defensively it just really carried us.
Well, let's talk about the second quarter. That was crazy. A lot happened right there before halftime.
Well, we got the ball back. Defensive stand. We get the ball back. There's a 2:10, I think, 2:08 left on the clock. And I'm feeling pretty comfortable that it's 21-6 at this point. And we're feeling pretty comfortable that we're going to go down and score again. You go in at halftime up 28-6, getting the ball back with a chance to score again. You're looking at 35-6 pretty quick is what I'm seeing in my mind.
Right.
Coming down in the third quarter, maybe 35-6 pretty quick.
Right.
We ran a sweep around the edge with J.D. Dean, and he took a big hit, fumbled the football. They picked it up, took it back down, and scored before half.
Scored on it.
So here we were with a minute to go in scoring position, feeling pretty comfortable.
Right.
That was a huge momentum shift in our game.
That was. What did you say?
Well, I just told our kids. I mean, I don't need to yell at him. He knew he messed up.
No, he didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, it's not like he's choosing to fumble the ball, and it happens.
It happens.
But it's a lesson for us to learn.
Yeah.
Turnovers in crucial times can change games.
And it did.
It did. I mean, here we are, potentially going up 28-6 at half and receiving the football to 21-13 at half, receive the ball, go 3 and out, to now you've got a ball game.
Right.
Entire momentum shift.
Right.
So I didn't like that.
Right.
But I liked the way we responded and fought on the defensive side of the ball. It was I was pulling hard to get yards in the second half offensively. It was tough. It was tough.
Before we go to the second half, let's talk about. Okay, we want to call it in the media the Wildcat play.
Yeah.
With Damian going in as the. Well, what do you call it? You call it something different.
We have 2 packages out of it. We have Michigan and Wolverine. They're 2 different looks.
All right,
out
it was
of
your Wolverine.
This was our Michigan package.
Oh, I got it
They're
wrong.
They're slightly different. I'm not going to get into all the details.
I had a 50-50
I'm not going to get into all the details of how they're different. I'm going to keep that one in my pocket.
Yeah, we don't need to go into that.
But there are differences based on what we're seeing defensively if we're going to go Michigan or Wolverine. This was our Michigan package.
Okay.
Huge hole
Which, as a fan, it was exciting to watch.
It's exciting, And I know people think, well, why don't you do this more often? It's not quite that simple. It's... we first play the second half, we come out and we do it, and we end up with a negative 3-yard loss. I mean, it's one of those things that if you aren't in the right situations at the right times, it can turn into big losses as much as it can big plays.
Right.
So, but
they made a huge hole for
Damian. Hole, and I mean, I don't know.
What was it? 70.
I don't know if I've ever seen him run that fast.
77 yards.
I don't know if I'd ever seen him run that fast. I mean, you could tell that he knew there was more speed on the field this week because he ran with a little different authority. All the way down the field.
Yeah,
I mean,
he didn't pause when he got.
There was no hesitation at the goal line. I mean, he made sure he put the rock in the end zone, and it was an impressive run. And it was good. It was good blocking. Our guard pulled, our right guard Zach Howard pulled around there, got on his backer. It was just good looking play.
Yeah, they made a big, gigantic hole for him. It was big. But then, of course, did a little bit of a celebratory dance. I mean,
yeah, we addressed that today with the team. He's not the only one doing that, but
there was 2 of them out there in the end zone.
And that's not, obviously if they're doing that, that's on the coaching. That's on me. Stuff I address about our discipline, but. Let's just say after addressing it today, I don't think it'll be an issue.
So you don't talk to him about it at the game. You wait till after.
Yeah. I mean, I told him, if you do that again, you're coming out. And the official was if he would have done it again, he could get tossed for that anyway.
Right.
But I I'm a believer in when you feed off of positive energy the same way people feed off of negative energy. I don't like to turn things into negative energy that are going well in the middle of a football game.
Right.
I think that's bad karma for your team. But at the same time, if it needs addressed, you address it.
Right.
I try not to make it too big of a deal. But, I'm not going to pull a kid right there. They're excited, and I feel that. But that's on me that, we need to act like we've been there before because he's been there 48, 9 times or whatever it is. I don't even know.
You can lose count.
Yeah, that can't happen, and that won't happen anymore. We've addressed it. We're taking care of that one.
All right, well, let's go to break, and when we come back, we'll talk about halftime, and then we'll talk about the second half, and then we'll talk about we got a lot to talk about still. Your break, and then the Laurel County game.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back.
Hello everyone, I'm Madison County Schools Superintendent Elmer Thomas, and I want to thank you for watching Madison County School Sports Television.
Follow Madison County School Sports Television on Twitter. Or like us on Facebook, MCS TV. And of course, watch all of our videos on YouTube. This program is brought to you by Hopper's Jewelry, off the EKU Bypass in Richmond.
Natural hazards can be scary, especially for kids. We count on the adults in our lives to help keep us safe. That's why there's a website that can show you and your family how to prepare for all kinds of hazards. You can learn what to do during disasters, like tornadoes, and how to plan for emergencies, like flash floods. Remember, we're counting on you to keep us safe.
Be aware. Learn how to prepare at MadisonCountyEMA.net.
Another great sponsor for Madison County School Sports Television is Madison HVAC. Visit them at MadisonHVACR.com. By calling Madison HVAC, you always know you'll talk to the owner. Give them a call. This programming is sponsored by State Farm Insurance, Jerry Goble in Richmond, Luxury Pet Service, Richmond, Premier Rehab in Gibson Bay, CSEP, MadisonCountyEMA.net, Davenport Custom Guitars, Richmond, Richmond Tourism, Time Warner Cable, Madison County Schools, ScenicCabin.com, Faith Created Assembly of God Church, and Tatum Enterprises.
Welcome back to the Head Coach John Clark Show. I'm Samantha Burford. We're going to talk about halftime. You guys went in, what was it? 21-13.
21-13.
Yeah. There's so many different scores, I can't remember.
It's okay. We made a few adjustments. Defensively, we're doing some good things. We just talked about securing that quarterback a little bit better.
Right.
Offensively, people were really playing our outside run. They were playing our outside runs well. They had a lot of speed at linebacker, and we just weren't getting to their linebackers. And this is bottom line. We didn't touch their linebackers. So we made a few adjustments that we thought would help us get to them in the second half.
Okay.
Should have worked, didn't. Just didn't play very well up front in the second half. The effort. It wasn't physical enough in the second half. It wasn't a physical enough of an effort. It was probably one of the worst games we've played up front. And that's on me. I'm the O-line coach.
Well, what do you think the cause of that was? Is it
focus?
Okay.
Lack of
fatigue or?
No, it wasn't fatigue. We're in great shape. It was a lack of focus. It was a lack of focus, and our guys know that. We've talked about it since then. It was a lack of focus, and they admittingly so. Things came easy in the first half for them.
Yeah.
So they thought they'd come easy from there on out, and then they ended up in a dogfight in the second half and realized it's hard to switch back off from, oh, I can chill out, it's easy, to, we didn't maintain our level of play the whole game.
You can tell the difference, too.
Yeah. And
even watching
you go and watch that game, first half, we were firing off the ball and moving people. Second half, we were okay with whatever.
Yeah.
And that's on me.
I want to call it a little flat. But
yeah, absolutely flat.
Okay.
And by the time they realized that's not good enough, mentally they were already flat, and it's hard to get yourself back into it. Anybody that's played knows that. But we can't do that. We're not good enough to do that. And they know that, and we're going to get better at that. But the scheme was there. Getting the job done was not in the second half.
Right.
Offensively. We came out from halftime, received the ball, went 3 and out on a couple plays that should have worked. But there were some things that didn't go well.
Right.
And bottom line is, too, play good teams, they're going to make plays.
Yeah.
Their linebackers,
yeah.
I think the frustration kind of played in there, too, when their linebackers are faster than you and they're just running. I think our guys got a little frustrated by that up front. And so I tried to change some play calls to get them on those backers a little easier, and it just we'd get on them, we weren't staying on them. So it was a perfect storm of some things that didn't go well up front for us in the run game.
Right. So do you think, I'm sure the fans stayed until the end, of
course.
course.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely.
And thank goodness they did.
Yeah.
I mean, that ending.
Well, it kept going back and forth. It was punt. Thank God we got a great punter.
Right.
There were some.
Thank goodness.
There were some bad no calls in the game. Our punter got absolutely destroyed on a punt. I mean, I've watched the film 10 times. He gets laid out, and they don't call roughing the kicker.
Really? You watched it 10 times?
Oh, I've watched it 10 times to make sure that before I send it to the Officials Association.
Okay.
That's ridiculous. Kid doesn't get touched, or the ball doesn't get touched.
Okay.
The ball goes 40-some yards.
Okay.
So the ball never gets touched, which we didn't think it did in the game, and it's a no call, and they're sitting there looking right at it. I mean, it actually had an effect on the game later in the game because the next time my punter punted, he didn't kick through the ball because he was nervous he was going to get hit again, and rightfully so. He got demolished the time before.
Exactly.
They call that penalty. We keep the drive going. There's some things that could really change the game in there. We threw a deep ball to Devontae later in the game. He had a good chance to make the play and just gets taken out before he even has a chance to go up for it. No call. I don't know why there was no call on that. I mean, he gets leveled before he even had a chance to go up and make the play. That also stopped the drive from continuing. So there's some things in there that just didn't go well for us in the second half. But one consistent was our defense. Our defense was a constant for us in the second half. They made plays, and they made plays. I mean, there's a play where Aaron Sipple blitzed so hard in the second half, he hits their running back, just demolishes him into their quarterback. And I mean, he was all over the field. Kamani Bruce, I think, had six tackles. Tank, we call him number 90, had 6 tackles. I mean, we just played physically very well defensively.
Well, and I think that's what all the talk is about, is that people realize that your defense is what kept you in the game in the second
They're good.
half.
I mean, I've been telling people that. I've been screaming that forever. I mean, our defense is good.
Right.
And I think people are starting to realize that. Against Central, we gave them 6 on the offense. Take away those 6. Take away all those turnovers. That number on the board probably changes. This week, our defense held them to 13 points.
Right.
But we turned over, which gave them good field position that led to 6 before half. Take that away, maybe our defense holds them to 6.
Right.
We throw a pick 6. So I'm telling you, our scores don't even show how well our defense is playing. They are playing outstanding. They are fast, they are physical, and they will hit you.
Well, and some of the guys are playing offense and defense, so that's incredible.
And there's some. We don't have a lot of guys that do that, just a select couple.
Right.
But there's some big hits on the field, and our defense flies around. I mean, we couldn't be happier with what they're doing.
Right. Do you mind talking a little bit about Damien? I mean,
that's okay.
We can't do a show without. I mean, I don't want to give him all the credit because it takes a whole team. We all know that.
You don't have to apologize for him being a good player. It's okay. He's a good player. He is an exceptionally good player.
Because I know people are tuning in because they want to hear about him.
Yeah.
So I know you told us that you went to the Michigan game.
Yeah.
With him.
Yeah.
Just recently, you guys got up after the Central game on that Saturday morning.
Yeah, I took him to the Michigan Notre Dame game. His family went up. A couple coaches, we went up as well, and it's a neat experience to watch him interact. I mean, it's not the first couple times you take a young man to a campus, it's a visit. Right. This very much feels like a homecoming. Watching him, I don't have to show him how to do anything anymore. They do their thing, and I just kind of sit back and make sure everything runs right.
Right.
And he.
They know his name.
They love him. Yeah, it's interesting to hear fans chant his name when he walks into the stadium.
That's incredible. It's almost like UK basketball. I mean, when the recruits come and the fans know him. It's exactly.
But seeing him in that setting, just makes me feel very comfortable with his decision. It's his decision. It always has been. But I want to make sure that he's in the right place too, and I feel completely comfortable with where he is going to be going after high school. Absolutely.
Right. Well, and what's exciting is we're going to still be sitting here talking about this next year.
Yeah, he's got another year, and so does Aaron Sipple, and so does Logan Coomer. A lot of these guys,
which is a media person, it makes me very excited to know that we're going to get to watch him.
Have a few more years,
right?
So it's good.
That is good. So, all right, what do you want to go to next? Do you want to go to the last play? Where do you want to move to?
Let's talk about the end of the game. Right. So we had a 3rd and 2 situation.
Yeah.
Where I ran a football to a play. Aaron Sipple was carrying the ball earlier in the game. Had 9 carries, 24 yards. Those hard fullback yards. Went to that play again. We completely blew a blocking assignment up front. Left the linebacker open in the hole, and he just blows us up. So you got a decision there. You got to go for it to punt. And the ball's, I think, around our 35, 40-yard line. Made a decision. I called a timeout there. Didn't like to call the timeout because I kind of want to let the clock run, but at the same time, where they hit our punter earlier, I wanted to make sure we didn't get this punt blocked. So I burned a timeout to make sure that I had a chance to talk to everybody about the protection and secure the ball.
Right.
Talk to our punter about, nice solid kick off the foot. And he didn't have a very good kick. He shanked it.
Still nervous.
He shanked it. And I think the reason he shanked it was he'd been hit the kick before.
Right.
And you go back and you watch the film, and he kind of short-legged it. He didn't follow through with it because he was worried about pressure, which you can't blame him. But they got the ball. They tried to put together some big plays. They dropped back, let their quarterback run a little bit. We ended up holding them. They've got 4th down. The clock's running down. They're out of timeouts. There's 5 seconds left on the clock. They're trying to run a kid on, and they snap the ball. Mm-hmm. Every game I've ever been in, when there's a false start, the play stops.
Right.
Well, they go ahead and they let them run the play, and they kick it. All right, and the kick's good. Well, obviously the kick can't count, but they let the clock run all the way down to zeros, and then the official gave me the choice of you can accept the penalty, and we back them up, or you can decline it, and the kick's good. Well, the kick shouldn't be good because the play should have stopped with an illegal procedure. The play should be dead right there.
Right.
Technically, if they felt that guy was run onto the field to purposely delay the game should be over if it was an intentional delay of game.
Exactly.
That's a judgment call by the official.
Right.
Regardless, what should have happened is the play should have been stopped. There would have been 1 second left on the clock. Mark the penalty off, set the ball down, blow it in, and it would have burned that second off, and they probably would not have had time to snap the ball, period. So I was not happy about that. But,
right. Did you get into it with the official?
Well,
Did you say anything to him?
Other states I've been in, when you have a conflict, they come over, you can talk about it, and if they're wrong, they'll make the change and do what they're supposed to do. Put a second back on the clock, blow it in, see if they get it snapped in time. They don't do that in Kentucky. I'm learning that now. There's no negotiating calls. There's no, we're sorry, you're right, we're wrong. There is our way or the highway with the way that goes. I can't do anything about that. It's the way it is. But we were 3 feet from losing that football game. They were allowed to kick it again with 0 time on the clock. They had a free play at the end of the game.
Right.
You can't have a free play at the end of the game with an offensive penalty. If there's a defensive penalty, it can lead to a free play, but not an offensive penalty. It was completely wrong, and I'm just glad it didn't cost our kids.
Oh, gosh, yes. So as a coach, what will you do about it? I mean, we don't want to get you in trouble.
Well, I've done what
we
I
don't want to badmouth the coaches.
Yeah,
Has this been a group of coaches, a team that you've had before, a crew? Have they been?
No, but what I did is
here?
I did what I always do. My athletic director called me and said, the head of our officials association was at the game in the second half, and he'd like the film. So I sent the film, and hopefully they look at it, and hopefully they learn from it,
Okay. So you're not making phone calls or anything like that?
No.
You're just letting the action
what can I do at
care.
this point?
Exactly.
It's happened. I've sent it to the right people. It's not my job to educate everybody on it.
Right.
It's the Officials Association's job. So
hopefully you're educating people right now.
Well, I've sent the film, and I hope they make the right decisions moving forward about what to do. And, we're just going to hopefully not make games that close.
Were you crossing your fingers if that didn't go in?
No. Honestly, I've been doing this too long to cross my fingers.
We were.
I was still shocked that they were letting them kick it with no time on.
Yeah.
I thought
you were probably stunned.
Honestly, I felt like there's no way they hit this because it's not right. Morally, this would be the wrong thing to happen, and I just felt like so many good things are going on around our program right now. I didn't feel like it would happen. But in that regard, I got to give credit to Dunbar, for their kids to keep the game the way they did and to really have a chance to win it at the end. I mean, that's going to be a good football program.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a good game. I look forward to playing them next year. I mean,
I was going to say,
as long as some of those speedsters graduate.
That's true.
But it's a good football team.
Every week I say to you, it seems like, as a fan, these are some of the best games of high school football to watch. Because so many years, it doesn't matter whether it's Central or Southern, but, some games are more fun than others as a fan. And every game that we go to for Southern has been a good football game.
Well, and last year maybe, and the year before, we'd lose those close games. 2 years ago, we didn't have close games. Last year, we lost 3 games by 1 point.
Yeah,
so our kids are learning how to win. And if you've
it feels good.
And as long as I've been around this game, I can't even describe it to you. I didn't kick the kick. Our kids didn't kick the kick.
Right.
We didn't force that kid to miss the kick. But there's just something about when a team finds ways to win, and it just keeps happening if you become a winning program. Our kids are finding ways to win. Our defensive stands, offensively, we didn't move the ball, but we moved it enough to get field position back.
Right.
Sometimes you just find a way to win games, and we're doing that. And they were a good team.
Yeah, and you deserve it.
Yeah, I mean,
we're happy for you.
Yeah, and we know though that deserve doesn't do anything. I thought we deserved to win those 3 games last year.
Yeah.
But
hard work
the key is they're learning how to win close games.
Yeah.
And that game's going to pay dividends for us down the road.
Right. Speaking of winning, I mean, you guys are 4-0. We're off this week.
Sure.
I say we. I'm not doing it. You're off.
You're in it.
Week.
You're in it with us.
I'm in it to win it, and it's exciting, and I feel like it. 4-0. It's it feels good. It feels good for the fans, and you're off this week. What will you do? You still have practice. You're watching
practiced
footage.
this week. We gave them a 3-day weekend. We practiced today. We went in helmets, very light. We're gonna let their bodies heal.
Okay.
Work on technique. Tomorrow night we have something unique we do with our leadership program and development program where we have a mother-son dinner.
Okay.
So we do that tomorrow night, and
that's nice.
It's pretty neat. I think the moms really enjoy it, and the kids, it's good for them too.
Yeah.
And then Thursday we'll have a light practice, and we're actually going to scrimmage our JV and freshmen against each other. Let the varsity guys kind of get involved in that as coaches a little bit.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. And then Friday we're going to do a team activity as well. No practice, just do something fun, cook out, and do some things with the kids. Just
keep
family.
It fun.
Yeah, just family. And then next week we'll get rolling again on a normal schedule. We open up a South Laurel in district play. Our district, I will say it right now, people have knocked our district since I've been here, saying it's the worst one in 5A. We have 3 teams that are 4-0 in our district right now. Pulaski's ranked 2 in some polls. North Laurel's ranked in the top 10. We've got 3 teams at 4-0. Southwestern sits there at 0-4, but they're 0-4, and the teams they've played are a combined like 12-3.
Exactly.
They've lost to Belfry in a close game. They've lost to Somerset in a close game. That team is much improved. Lincoln is 2-2 and just beat Garrett, which is Garrett was in the semi-state game a couple years ago. It's a good program. So this is a competitive district. I think it's the toughest district in 5A, and I think our games will continue to get more competitive as we move.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up. Is there anything else you want to say? I always give you the last bit to.
I think I talked about the JV team. Our freshman team lost a close one to Lexington Catholic last week.
Okay.
We're still learning how to run our offense a little bit. Defense is playing pretty well, but the offense, we're still learning ball control a little bit at that level. But next Monday we start, or Saturday, the freshmen, Saturday play at Corbin.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that game at Corbin on Saturday. And then the next Monday, we've got a JV game against South Laurel. We start our district JV and freshman schedule.
And you have specific coaches for those teams, right? You have a freshman head
I have
coach.
a freshman staff.
Okay.
JV staff is coached by us as well. My assistants coach the JV staff, but our freshman staff, Coach Steve Lloyd is our head football coach, and Will Rogers and Tony Terry coach that group. They do a real good job with it.
Right. But you're still there. You're there.
Try to be there as much as we can, absolutely.
You have to.
So.
Coach, thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, it's big time, 4.0. We're all excited for you.
It's exciting.
And we just hope that we can keep, we know we're going to, I don't say we hope, we know we're going to keep on and on and on, and every week just going to keep getting better.
Well, I can promise our fans this. You guys keep coming out and stronger, and we will get better. I guarantee that.
I do too. I think it's great. We're excited. We're going to keep coming. That's what I guarantee.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, Coach. And thanks for watching the Head Coach John Clark Show, and we'll see you next week. Hi, I'm Samantha Burfer with Madison County School Sports Television, here today with head coach John Clark.
And I'm here to tell you to watch Madison County School Sports Television.
This program is brought to you by Hopper's Jewelry, off the EKU bypass in Richmond.
Natural hazards can be scary, especially for kids. We count on the adults in our lives to help keep us safe. That's why there's a website that can show you and your family how to prepare for all kinds of hazards. You can learn what to do during disasters, like tornadoes, and how to plan for emergencies, like flash floods. Remember, we're counting on you to keep us safe.
Be aware. Learn how to prepare at MadisonCountyEMA.net.
This program is sponsored by Jack Burford Chevrolet, right here in Richmond. And by Clayton Homes in Richmond on Big Hill Avenue. This programming is sponsored by State Farm Insurance, Jerry Goble in Richmond. Luxury Pet Service, Richmond. Premier Rehab in Gibson Bay. CSEP, MadisonCountyEMA.net. Davenport Custom Guitars, Richmond. Richmond Tourism. Time Warner Cable. Madison County Schools. ScenicCabin.com. Faith Created Assembly of God Church. And Tatum Enterprises. This program is sponsored by First Gear in downtown Richmond and Pro Signs in Southern Hills Plaza.
Hello everyone, I'm Madison County School Superintendent Elmer Thomas, and I want to thank you for watching Madison County School Sports Television.
Follow Madison County School Sports Television on Twitter. Or like us on Facebook, MCS TV. And of course, watch all of our videos on YouTube.